Hello and welcome. My name is Jody Biggs. My pronouns are he, him, and they, them. We are live on Facebook, and it is great to see 17 of you joining us here on Zoom. There is still time to join us on Zoom. The link can be found on our website, uuyon.org. It can also be found on our social medias at uuyon on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We hope you will consider joining us on Zoom. It is great to have you here with us. We will begin our service in just a moment, but until then, a few announcements. This worship service is put together entirely by UU young adults, and it is a pleasure and an honor to serve as co-chair of this wonderful faith community. UU Yon is a great organization that is working to rebuild young adult ministry. And as always, we are seeking help in this work. So if you yourself are a UU young adult, we invite you this coming Wednesday to join us for our worship meeting, where we're going to talk a little bit more about what it is we do, how we go about this work, and share some of the needs that we have to make this worship happen, which we do monthly. So we are looking for tech hosts, we are looking for reflection givers, we are looking for songwriters, we are looking for chaplains and pastoral care reps, and so many other ways to make this happen. If you're subscribed to our Sweet Potato newsletter, you can find more information there, or you can find this information on our website, uuyon.org. Also, be on the lookout in the weeks to come as we are starting a massive campaign to talk about young adult ministry with congregations and really get this work underway. I invite you now to finish arriving, to settle in, and to prepare for worship this morning. Sorry, this evening. This is the third worship I've done today. But finish arriving wherever you are, wherever you come from, and wherever your spiritual path has brought you to this moment. Arrive and settle in for our prelude.
We are here to be lifted in love. Look at the birds, they tell us. We are here to be lifted in love. Look at the trees, they tell us. We're here to be lifted in love, to listen to love as a flower raises its face to the sun. We are all one, here to be lifted in grace and love. We are here to be lifted in love. Look at the sky, it tells us. We are here to be lifted in love. Look at the trees, they tell us. We're here to be lifted in love, to listen to love as the children raise all their faces to the sun. We are all one, here to be lifted in grace and love. We are here to be lifted in love. Look at the trees, they tell us. We are here the seas, they tell us we're here to be lifted in love, to listen to love as the flower raises its face to the sun. We are all one, here to be lifted in grace and love.
Love cannot be bought or sold. It does not make a profit. Love does not hide from truth. Love dives deep. Love takes on flesh.
Love is queer. Love is platonic. Love is erotic. Love is asexual. Love confronts evil.
Love delights in pleasure. Love touches and weeps and flirts and feeds and creates. Love is risky. Love challenges systemic evil in all its forms. Love is simple but not easy.
Love is collective. Love rises up. Love apologizes. Love believes. Love corrects. Love holds accountable.
Love pays reparations. Love heals. Love tells its story. Love embraces everyone, every creature, every creation. It knows us intimately and holds us collectively.
Love transcends every boundary that seeks to confine it. It will not tolerate violence in its name. It does no harm. It only sets free.
Our chalice lighting words this evening come from a poem by Maya Angelou. It was adapted and can be found in Lifting Our Voices. We are weaned from our timidity in the flush of love's light. We dare be brave, and suddenly we see that love costs all we are and will ever be. Yet it is only love which sets us free.
Show you and way back home. But don't you worry, 'cause I've been with you all along.
Oh, I ain't worried, 'cause I can feel it, 'cause I can feel it. Yeah, they said it's hard to really see it, and the reason why we living. Don't chase it with your eyes, can recognize it till it's given. The world in front of me became the molding of my vision. The pain that came to me is what I blame on my decisions. How can I find the courage when my heart is feeling missing? How do I find a time when I know that the clock is ticking? I'm a soldier for this love, is guaranteed to be my mission. Wish I could find it easy like I see it in the children. Hey, looking back as I move forward, Sankofa, I want a love that explodes, call it a supernova. What it takes to reach the heavens, let me stand closer. Put the pieces all together, witness Jehovah. God is patient with a sunny plant the seed and let it grow. When I love it unconditional, I learn to let it go. Open your arms, what I'm talking about. Without a doubt, I can feel the love reaching out.
Love reaches out. My love reaches out. Love reaches out. Love reaches out.
My love reaches out.
Love
Can you feel it?
reaches out.
Yeah.
Love reaches out.
I'm never giving up, I'm keeping cool, I'm in control. My praise, I give it up, a higher powers in control. This light is guiding me, I'm on with everything I know. This love is getting closer, I can feel it in my soul. Long as I am living, I still got the time to show the patience that was given from the ones that let me grow. Forgive me for debating back and forth, to and fro. This love is reaching out, I'm giving it to you and yours. Walk with me in solidarity. My sanctuary eases my disparity. When I look into your eyes, I'm looking carefully. What do you know? There is me. No more questioning the things that I can never see. Touch, taste, smell, hear, no more mystery. Just the faith that's stronger than my pain and misery. I found it in myself and it will forever be. The breath of love that gave me the breath of life. A breath of lost spirits, give it back and I energize. If I never take another, let my voice come and speak it out. And give you the feeling of love reaching out.
Love reaches out.
Yes, it does.
My love reaches
And I can feel it, I can feel it, I can feel it. Hey.
reaches out. My love reaches
Can you hear it? Can you hear it? Can you hear it now?
reaches out.
Oh yes, it does.
My love reaches
Can you
out.
feel it? Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Hey.
My love reaches
Can you hear it? Can you hear it? Can you hear it now?
Love can change you, let it grow. The seeds will reap the love you sow. Feel your heart till it explodes, and love can take over your soul. Love opens doors without a key. Evolves through patience and honesty. Trust love and just let it be. Feel the power of love between you and me. Between you and me. Between you and me. Feel the power of love between you and me. Love
Sing it.
reaches out. My love reaches out.
reaches out.
Yes, it does.
My love reaches
Can you
out.
feel it? Can you feel it? Can you feel it
Reaches
now?
out. My love reaches out.
Can you hear it? Can you hear it? Can you hear it now?
My love reaches out.
Love reaches out.
Reaches out.
When it's cold outside, my love gonna reach out and warm your soul.
I invite you now to finish arriving to this space, to the space that you have made sanctuary this evening. Whether you are in bed, in the floor, on the couch, or curled up in your favorite chair, you have chosen to enter into this community. And now is the time in our service that we make known the joys, the milestones, the sorrows, and the concerns that lie within each of us. In just a moment, I will invite you to place such joys and concerns in the chat, and I will do my best to read each one into this space together. So it is at this time that I invite you to list any profound joys that you are carrying this evening in the chat. Joy for a new puppy. Joy for another new puppy from someone else. Someone among us is in Texas today. It is warm and sunny, and the snow is melting, and it feels like spring. Someone else has mentioned warm and sunny today. Spend half the day meditating. Joy for time off this week and recovery from COVID vaccines. A high-risk coworker got vaccinated on Thursday. Someone's mom got her vaccine as well. So joy for vaccines all around. Holding all of these joys and those unsaid or untyped, I invite you now to place into the chat those things, those moments in our lives that are so vulnerable, that cause us pain, sorrow, and suffering as we lift them up together. Concern for a new puppy that has brought a whole nother level of worry to one's life, trying to overcome that. Concern for Texas, sorry for the pain and loss of life there. Miss seeing everyone in person. And holding these concerns, these joys, both said and unsaid, let us enter into a moment of silent meditation, prayer, and contemplation. We will then have a musical meditation. Returning from our silence, thank you for bearing witness to these moments in each of our lives. We now turn to our musical meditation, which is a version of the Buddha meditation, but I'm going to let our musician tell you a little bit more about this meditation, where it comes from, and then we will sit back and listen.
Hi, everybody. I'm excited to share a song with you today that I really love. It's a setting of the metta meditation from the Buddha. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease, and may I be happy. Starting with a practice of compassion towards ourselves, and then gradually extending that compassion outward to the entire world. So that first, if we can extend compassion to ourselves, we can then extend compassion to the people that we know, and maybe the people that we see, and maybe the people that we haven't even heard about and don't even know about, is the idea. So I'm going to teach you this melody. I learned it from a colleague of mine, Amy Menard, and I wrote a harmonization. So I'll sing a line and invite you to sing that line back to me. It goes like this. May I be filled with loving kindness. Try that. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. Your turn. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. Together. May I be peaceful and at ease. And may I be happy. That last line. And may I be happy. So in a second we will sing that all again, and then we'll change the word I to the word you, and then to we, and finally to all. And between each verse, I'm going to just play a little instrumental music, and I just invite us to really meditate during that time on what we're singing and what we're saying, and endeavor to feel some of that compassion for ourselves and for others. Let's start with May I Be Filled. And may I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. And may I be happy. be filled with loving kindness. May all be well. May all be peaceful and at ease. And may all be happy. Thanks, everyone.
You hear a word enough, it can lose all meaning. Love. Love. Love? Love. Love. Love is the spirit of this church. Justice is what love looks like in public. Sometimes I think that when it comes to love, we UUs can lose the trees for the forest. We think about the big picture of our values. We think about love as social witness, love as interconnection, love as dignity for all people. But when you zoom in and look closer, we still have just as hard a time as anybody loving ourselves for our failures, loving the people in our communities and congregations that we disagree with. Those of us who are white might agree with big statements like the eighth principle, but still have a problem with acknowledging our own privilege or microaggressions or even macroaggressions against the people of color in our community. I might just be projecting. I know this is something that I deal with. For me, I think the hard part is emotional vulnerability. Easy for me to make a grand gesture, sign a petition, attend a march, engage in conscious consumerism, donate a little money to a good cause. Those things are easy because I don't have to put myself out there to do them. They're good, but they're almost performative. They don't really require vulnerability. But if somebody that I care about is crying, if I'm crying and don't know who to turn to, my minister often reflects on the tension and connection between prophetic sermons and pastoral sermons. A lot of UUs are drawn to the prophetic services, the kind of service that calls on us to right wrongs and stand up for injustice and be who we are called to be. And my minister says that the people who are most well known for those kinds of sermons, the MLKs of the world, actually mostly preached pastoral sermons, things that help us care for the broken pieces of ourselves, for each other. And that the reason their congregations were able to do the prophetic work is because of the building and healing and foundations set up by all of that pastoral work. I think that's what I mean about love. That if justice is what love looks like in public, and if that's what we want to do, it's built on top of our private love, trusting one another, being whole with our community, accepting ourselves. And we can't just skip straight ahead to the social movement part. What would it mean to see the challenges that we're confronted with, the global warming and white supremacy and patriarchy and economic injustice, not just as problems to be solved, but as opportunities to widen our circles of compassion just a little bit more? What would it mean to go to our congregation and feel like you could truly speak up when you felt lonely or down? What would it mean for your congregation to then truly hear you and be present to you? What would it mean to open your heart to wrongs that you've done to somebody that you care about and feel pain for the pain that you caused? I don't have answers to any of those questions. I don't know how we get there. But on this day, a week after Valentine's Day, my wish is for each of us to remember that love doesn't have to be anything grandiose. It doesn't have to be a heart-shaped box. It doesn't have to be love at first sight. It doesn't have to be some prophetic love that rights all wrongs. My wish for each of us in this moment is to open our hearts to vulnerability and to cultivate a quiet love for ourselves and for our communities, and to let that be enough. Blessed be.
How does one practice self-love in the isolating conditions of a pandemic? Forgive me, my document's over here, my camera's over here. But I'm no stranger to treating myself, whether it's been a productive morning or I got out of bed seconds before logging into work. It never starts without my coffee. I take my lunch break, all of it, and don't look at my emails till it's over. I bought the re-release of my favorite album on CD, even though I have it on my phone and don't have a CD player. And yes, sue me, I take a long shower. The sea turtles would understand, because I deserve it. But what is self-love? It sounds like a vain construct rooted in individualism, pushed by Western culture to sell bath bombs. And it is. Reflection over, thank you for coming, and peace. No. But in these times, it's important more than ever to take care of ourselves. Does that mean do what feels good? Yes, absolutely it does. Take that midday nap. Have that weekend of doing nothing. But self-love does not always feel good. Case in point, this month, I stopped drinking. It has been a challenge because for a pretty long time, that's what I saw as self-care. It was hard, especially in the first 2 weeks, to put self-love and sobriety in the same sentence. I felt sick. I felt lost. I felt the pangs of withdrawal. But in that darkness, my therapist told me something that I'll never forget. I don't care how you feel. Yeah, they're not all warm and fuzzy. He's a no-nonsense cognitive behaviorist, more interested in what we do to manage our lives. And like the Buddhist traditions that we have been looking at today, he also thinks my biggest problem is my ego. But here's what I learned. Love is not a feeling. If it was, self-love would always be euphoric. Sometimes I can't stand loving myself. Love is not a feeling, it's a verb, it's a decision. And it's an unconditional support for that decision. I say love because there's nothing really self about it. The idea, and I won't touch on this too much, but the idea that you can't love others till you love yourself is crap. Love isn't self-taught. I don't know where I'd be without the support and resources I've had. Last month, I brought it up with my roommates, real casual. Hey, I think I'm doing dry February. And they said, yes, you absolutely should. And we're doing it with you. That's love. They taught me I'm worthy of love I wasn't allowing myself. We are people. We are not supposed to do it alone, and we don't have to. I never really wrote an ending, but that's my story. Thank you.
Good evening. So, love. Why was this so hard? Why did I procrastinate and push off writing about love? I talk about love all the time. I guess I have to admit that some stuff comes up for me. That stuff is pain. I say this in a kidding way, but it is real. So I have to think, what is that? Why is that? I guess what comes to mind is what I consider my struggle is self-love. They say you can't love yourself. If you can't love yourself, you can't love another, as Giancarlo was just saying. But like, is that even true? Like, really, is that even true? I guess I have my doubts because I've always had less of an ability maybe to self-love, but I have definitely have an ability to love and show love. And I guess I'm tempted right now to go into a, well, what is love anyway? But I will not. Just to put it simply, I think love changes. I think it is unique. I think it can grow. It can shrink. It's multi-layered, multifaceted. It is wild. So back to self-love and loving others. And I just think it means something different. It means something different than the way I immediately interpret it. So I'm a born and bred UU, and I actually tried living out our principles. And I was constantly in these community spaces where being selfless was valued and honored even. So I was told to believe in the inherent worth and dignity of every person, to hear everyone's voice, to respect our independent web of life. Living out these values is love. It's a way of showing love. It's living love. But I was growing up, there was such a strong emphasis on the community, which was great at the time. It was great. But I've come to realize I depended on it in a way I wasn't realizing in the moment. I was depending on this community love to fuel my self-love. So little did I know my struggle to come when that community slipped away. So my struggle to love myself. I guess I had learned to love myself through loving others. I mean, I rarely even questioned myself to my memory. And when I did, I had so much community support and love that it was short lived. And this is when I was a teenager, primarily. So I was actually happy to see, because I looked up the principles when I was writing this, and I was like, let me just double check these. And I found this image from Ellen Rocket. And Ellen created this 7 principle image. And the first principle reads, remember your inherent worth and dignity. And I was like, duh. That makes way more sense as a first principle for a faith that calls for us to give so much of ourselves. That brings clarity to loving myself to love others. And it even helps remind me that I do love myself. And I can doubt my choices or have regrets or make mistakes and still love myself, still believe I have value, I have worth, I have dignity. I can care for others and not put myself first, but I can still love myself while caring for others. I think, I think I'm just proud of myself for being able to love myself without the community. To love myself in a loving community. And then realize I can also love myself in a toxic community space. It's very difficult. But once I remember my inherent worth and dignity, I find that love, because it is changing and it comes in big waves and it can recede away. And it happens in all my relationships in different ways, with my family members, with my partner, and even exchanges of loving things with strangers, of like the human to human love. There are just so many layers and so many levels. But I digress. So much of this world is presented, I feel, as exactly what it seems. But there is layers and influence in everything. And I am grateful to be a curious person in moments like this, because yes, maybe I pushed off thinking about love because I thought pain and love. And I just didn't want to reflect love in a certain way or this or that. But I was curious enough to want to dive in and say, what would happen? What would happen if I approached this in a way that really looked at different angles, that really looked at different perspectives? And in a way, it turned into a self-care practice to push myself to think about love in this way. And on the other side, even just throughout the time of this reflection, I really learned to see that whole phrase that, at first I can reject, I can see it in a new way and understand it in a new way. And for me, that's a great thing, to be reminded of the love that I carry with me every day. Thank you. So I will do just a 5-second moment to let everyone reflect. And we are going to go into our closing song for this evening. I know this rose will open.
I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. I know, 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 I know. I know, 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 this rose will open. I know my fear. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose. I know this rose. I know this rose. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose. I know this rose. I know this rose. I know this rose. I know my fear. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose. I know this rose. I know this rose. I know my fear. I know my fear. I know my soul will unfurl my wings. I know this rose. I know this rose. I know this rose will open. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. Unfurl its wings. I know this rose. I know this rose. I know this rose. I know my fear will burn away. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. Unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open. 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 Fear will open. I know my soul will unfurl its wings. I know this rose will open.
I'm going to now extinguish our chalice, and then I will share our closing words. Our closing words this evening come from someone who is very dear to my heart. They are written by Alice Walker. Love, if it is love, never goes away. It is embodied in us, like seams of gold in the earth, waiting for light, waiting to be struck. Friends, this service is over, but ours continues on every day, always renewed by love, for love is the spirit of this community and of our chosen faith. While our service may be over, our time together is not. In just a moment, we'll be opening up some breakout spaces where you will be able to engage and get to know each other a little bit more, to build the love of a beloved community in which we spoke. As I speak, the tech host should be setting up those rooms, and I am just waiting for a sign that they are ready.
Well, first wanted to mention, Roddy, because you don't have to introduce yourself. If anyone is interested in speaking with a chaplain, we will have one breakout room for that. And one of our fearless leaders, Roddy, will be in there with you if you would like to speak to a chaplain. And then we just wanted to also ask if there was any other rooms that people wanted to have specifically. We are inviting everyone to go to a breakout room, even if we just all end up in one breakout room hanging out. But if there was something specific people wanted, if somebody said, oh, you know, I want to keep talking about love specifically, I don't want to get off this topic, I want to be in a specific room, let us know that, or any room that you would want. Otherwise, we'll just have a few, and then people can just go in and hang out.
And I am going to say goodbye to all of those who are watching us on Facebook. So thank you for joining in. Next month, we hope that you might consider joining us on Zoom. Good night.